At the table, the top Democrat in the House Budget Committee, one of the leaders taking part, and joins us now. Well, where do we stand? Because the word was that perhaps Joe Biden was talking about a trillion. That's not nearly enough to come up with a deal. The Republicans were saying they wanted $3 trillion or more, and a trillion is only a down payment on that.
Well, Andrea, we were trying to do this in two parts, and without getting into all the details and the numbers, the first part would be a down payment where we identify specific cuts, specific revenue raisers that could be achieved in order to get a certain way toward our deficit target. And then what we talked about today was putting in place a mechanism to ensure that if we're not able to achieve the other part of our deficit reduction through the normal process, that you would have an automatic mechanism go into effect. From our perspective, that mechanism would both create cuts and it also would create revenue raisers, and the hope would be that that never gets triggered, that through the normal process you're able to achieve the deficit reduction that you want to, but it would be an assurance that if you can't get through the normal process, that you would still hit your deficit targets.
Oh, is that revenue raiser a payroll tax, an extension of the payroll tax, or are you talking about yet another kind of revenue tax increase?
Well, we're talking about, and again, the Democratic position is that a balanced approach to deficit reduction has to include cuts, yes, but we should also be looking at closing a lot of the corporate loopholes, the tax earmarks, like subsidies for the oil and gas industry, like special tax breaks for corporate jets, that there's a lot of spending that's done through the tax code, and therefore we need to look at both those pieces if we're going to have a balanced approach. The whole question of payroll tax is really a separate issue. It could become related. It's a proposal the president has floated, as you know, to address the economy.
Have you found any give on the Republican side when you talk about revenue if it's coupled with triggers?
I can't say that there's been any give, but I'd also say that the vice president and the rest of us around the table, the Democrats as well as the president, have made it clear that any serious, credible deficit reduction package has to include some revenue. There's no reason to say that we're going to make, cuts in a lot of areas, but not cut a lot of the corporate pork at the same time. So let's be serious about this. There was some good news in the Senate the other day, which is that even though Senator Coburn's amendment failed, you had a lot of Republicans standing up for the principle that we should get rid of special interest tax breaks, in this case for ethanol, in order to reduce the deficit. That's exactly what we're saying around the Biden table.
Now, I want to ask you about Congressman Weiner, because his wife is back in the States, and there was some suggestion from one of your colleagues from Long Island yesterday from the caucus that there was word that he might be resigning in the next couple of days. Is there an informal understanding that he might be stepping down?
I can't say that. All I can say is that myself and others in the Democratic leadership have said that the right thing for Anthony Weiner to do, both for the country and for himself and his family, is to resign.
Should he be stripped of his committee assignments if he does not resign?
Well, I think he should resign, and so I don't think that there should be any other question raised at this point. My view and the view, I think, of the great majority of our colleagues and the Democratic leadership, a good number, is that the right thing to do, again, both for himself, for the Congress, and for the country, is to resign.
Thank you very much, Chris Van Hollen.
Thank you.
Good to see you.